Live streaming is on.
All right, good morning, everyone. I got on a little bit early. I'll wait a couple minutes to see if anyone else joins. Today, we're going to work on percentages. Okay. I think so, yep. All right. Absolutely. Okay, bye. All right, well, that was Casey just checking up on me. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So a percent is the same as like a fraction or a decimal. Sometimes you've seen it written like something like this, 33%. Okay, now how do we get that? So if you get a question, I'm going to erase this, like what percent is 16 of 4? Okay, so what that's going to do is we're just going to put that in a fraction. So we're going to have 4 over 16, and then we're going to reduce that, and that is 1 over 4. And what a percent is always out of 100. So we're trying to find what percent of 100 is 1/4. Okay, so we can do this a couple ways. Okay, so we're going to try to put this over 100 right here. And then you guys have done this before, so 4 times what equals 100? We're going to know that's 25. And then if I do 1 times 25, it's going to be 25. So 16 of 4 would be 25%. Okay. Another way you guys could do it, we could go back to this original 16 over 4, and we can divide 16 into 4. So we're going to do 16 into 4. Okay. We know 16 is bigger than 4, so then, you know, what we're going to do, we're going to put a decimal, and we're going to have some zeros. Okay. So we know 16 would go into 40 2 times. I'm going to move this decimal up. 2 times 16 is 32. And then 10 minus 2 is 8. And we're going to need to bring another 0 down, and that's 80. Then how many times does 16 go into 80? And that would be 5 times. Once again, we have 0.25, which is the same as 25%. Okay, so let's do another one. Before I do another one, I just want to give you some kind of reference. So if we are using money and we have a penny, which is 0.1, excuse me, that's in the wrong spot. We'll do 1 over 100. Then we're going to have a nickel, which is 5 over 100. We're going to have a dime, which is 10 over 100. We'll have a quarter, which is 25 over 100. We'll have a 50-cent piece, which is 50 over 100. And the last thing we're going to have is if we have like a dollar coin, it's going to be 100 over 100. Okay, so if you have 1 penny, you can ask what percent is 1 penny of a dollar. You're going to say it's 1%. A nickel would be 5%. A dime would be 10%. Quarter is 25%. A 50-cent piece would be 50%. And a dollar is 100%. Now, if you think about it, up here, you need 100 pennies to make a dollar. You're going to need 20 nickels, and 20 times 5 is 100. For the dimes, you're going to need 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Quarter, you're going to need 4, or 1/4. That's why it's 25%. 50-cent piece, you'll need 2. That's why it's half, or 50%. And then a dollar is 100. It's exactly, 1 out of 1. Okay. So let's do one more here. So if we do 5, hold on here, 5 of 2. So what percent is 5 of 2? Okay, so we're going to break that into a fraction, 2 over 5. Okay. And then, let me see here, we got to get to 100. So 5 times what equals 100? That's going to be 20. And if we multiply the bottom times 20, we have to multiply the top times 20. So it's going to be 40 over 100. So 40 over 100 is going to be 40%. Okay. And we can do the same thing where we divide 5 into 2. We know 5 is too big to go into 2. So we drop down to 0. And 5 goes into 20 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. And there you have 40%. Okay. So really, you guys, there's a couple ways you can do percent. You can do where you just basically put it over 100, and then you just multiply the denominator by a number that gets you 100. In this case, it was 20. And then you're going to multiply the top by that same number, and that got us 40% right there. Or you can divide the denominator, in this case 5, right here, into the numerator 2, which is 5 into 20, to get a percent. Okay, let's try one more. Let me see here. We'll do 10 of 2. So what percent is 10 of 2? Okay. So this one, we're going to put 2 over the 10. Okay. So we got to get this to 100. And we're going to know 10 times 10 equals 100. So if we multiply the bottom, the numerator, by 10, we have to multiply the numerator. So that's going to be 2 times 10 is going to be 20. So that's going to be 20%. Or once again, we can divide 10 into 2. And we know 10 doesn't go into 2, it's too big. So you put a decimal, bring a 0 down. And 10 goes into 20 2 times for 20%. Okay. So a lot of times, you guys, you might get a question, and I'll go back to the original one. It might say, what percent is 16 of 4? Okay, one thing, if you just look at it, you know, 4 goes into 16 4 times. So if each thing was 25%, you can just say, oh, those are quarters, and 4 is 1/4 of basically 16. So it's going to be 25%. You might just know that offhand. Similar, just like this right here. You know, it takes 4 quarters to make $1. So a quarter is 25% of $1. Sometimes money is easy for you guys to see. That's why I kind of use the money thing. And a dime is 10% of $1 because it'll take 10 dimes. A nickel, you're going to need 20 nickels to make $1. So that's 5%. And then you're going to have you get a 50-cent coin. That's half of $1, which is 50%. And then you have, when you have $1 out of $1, that's 100%. Okay, so basically, you guys, fractions, decimals, and percentage all tie in together. And like I said before, there's two ways you can do it. And we'll go back to the 16 out of 4. Oops. So you can put the second number over the first number. And this one, we want to reduce. You're going to get 1 out of 4. And then remember, everything goes over 100. Okay? So you just have to figure out the new denominator. 4 times what equals 100. In this case, it's 25. And you have to multiply the top by the same thing. Or, if you want, you can divide 16 into the 4. And that's going to give you 25. And that's going to be 25. So those are pretty much the 2 ways that you can find a percentage. And some of you do a little bit better dividing. This right here might be a little bit easier because you're like, yeah, I just have to figure out how to get to 100. And then I would just multiply whatever I multiply the bottom by, I have to multiply the top by. Okay. So I'll go ahead and post this I will put some practice up in basic maths, converting basically some decimal work. Have a very nice weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.